all viewers. Welcome back, selamat datang, and yokoso to the International and Domestic Virtual Colloquium COMAT 2022 of Institute of Teacher Education International Languages Campus, or better known as IPGKBA, with the theme Going Global, Internalizing Education. I am Ang Chui Kian, your moderator, a Japanese language lecturer in IPGKBA. I'll be hosting this series 12th session today. And we hope you will stay tuned with us till the end of this session because we have a lineup of two enthusiastic Japanese language learner come teachers to be as our speakers for today's session. Before we get to know them, allow me to lay out a few housekeeping matters. First, everyone who attends this seminar the webinar series will be given a e-certificate after each session. Therefore, do not forget to register yourself now. The registration link is on the screen. Second, we would love to hear from you during today's presentation. If you have any questions for our speakers, please feel free to send it through the chat box. The speakers will answer your questions at the end of the session. If we do not answer your question during today's webinar, we will be sure to follow up afterwards. And last, it would be much appreciated if you could share today's webinar with your social networks. Let's get started. Now, allow me to introduce our speakers for today. Both of them completed their postgraduate diploma program in Japanese language education at IPG KBA last year. They are now awaiting their appointment and posting to the schools as Japanese language teachers. Now, they are going to share with us their experience as reflective practitioner in Japanese language during their practicum, their 10 weeks practicum last year. Now, allow me to introduce the first speaker. Our first speaker is Nur Shafika binti Kamaru Azahar from, she is actually a graduate from University of Takushoku, Japan, and she graduated in electronic system engineering. And she was in Japan from 2018 to 2020. And in 2015 till 2017, she graduated with a diploma in electrical and electronic engineering in the Malaysian higher education, under the Malaysian higher education program. Now, next we have with us Nafisa binti Hamidun, and she is too a graduate from Japan, from Tokyo University of Science, Japan. She holds a Bachelor of Engineering, Electrical Engineering, and she also has a diploma in Electrical Engineering under Japanese Associate Degree Program called JAD from the year 2007 till 2010. So being both of them engineers, they were engineers and they are going to be Japanese language teachers. It will be very good to hear what they have to share with us as reflective practitioner as Japanese language teachers. So without further ado, let's get on with today's topic, which is reflective practitioner roles. Now, we invite Nur Shafika binti Kamaru Azhar Sensei to share with us her experience as reflective practitioner in teaching Japanese language. Shafika Sensei, yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
よろしくお願いします。ありがとうございました。ありがとうございます、アン先生。Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ohayo gozaimasu and a very good morning I bid to all. Once again, thank you very much, Ang Sensei. Allow me to share the screen. All right. So my presentation today will about reflective practitioners role, where I'm going to start my presentation a little bit with my practicum school background before I go to reflection themes, and lastly, conclusion. So, a little bit about my practicum school. I had my practical for 10 weeks, like what have Anseng said before. 2 weeks Taimen Jugyo physical class and 8 weeks online class from 26th April until 16th July 2021, where I had been given opportunity to teach Form 1 until Form 4 students, where Form 1 until Form 3 students, I had 21 students per class, and Form 4 student, 15 students. But actually, at the end of the practicum, I had to teach Form 4 students for 2 classes, where the number of students up to 40 students at one time. So this is going to be my reflection themes today. It is divided into 3 big themes, where I'm going to go details for each themes using SWOT concept: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So without any further delay, let's just go to the first theme, 教室狩り in terms of 生徒の関与 engagement of the students. So for the strength, actually these are the feedbacks that I've got from the students that I have taught before. They said that I have patience in teaching. To be honest, this is not comes from me where I figure out on my own. This is from them. The first thing that I realized, I just thought them like usual, but this is the feedbacks that I got from them. So I think this is a good compliment from a students to me to motivate myself as an educator to teach Japanese language. And it comes with the strength, there are weakness definitely. So I realized that by the end of the practicum, I need to teach 40 up to 40 students per class from 4 students. So I realized that I cannot control a large number of students. It's whether I tend to go to more focus on weak students or advanced students. I couldn't be fair enough to them. So this is the part that I need to improve from now onwards. And as for opportunity, because we were online, so I can introduce more online study source. For example, if you can see, this is also one of the feedbacks from them, where Sensei gave us manga to read. Actually, I just gave them Erin Chose manga, where we have learned that particular grammar in class, and I just give them as additional materials for them to read on their own. And they were so happy that they have at least something to read in Japanese. So I realized that this is very much to motivate them to keep on striving in Japanese language. And as for threats, because we are online, definitely we couldn't always know where are the students at that time during the class. It could be they are lying on the bed, it could be they are in the car going somewhere else. So what I used to do was I asked them to open the camera at first, so that I can see their readiness, I can see their face, their facial expression at that time, so that for those students who look sleepy or who are not ready yet, I'm gonna use to call their names quite often throughout the class. And as for the kyoshitsu kotoba, classroom words for the strength, this is also some of the feedbacks that I've got from them, where they say that they finally can understand. They managed to understand what I've taught in the class. So I can conclude that I'm able to explain the lesson very well to them. And as for weakness, I realized that I haven't used that classroom words very well yet. Where, for example, for the simple greetings, 挨拶、簡単な表現とか、簡単な指示とか、英語か日本語になって英語かマレー語になってしまう可能性はたくさんありました。これからも、because we are the only Japanese teachers, I realize that we have that responsibility to create the environment to speak in Japanese, because outside of the class they definitely don't really use that Japanese words. So this is the only opportunity for them to use the Japanese that they have learned. And as the opportunity, because we were online, so we use Telegram apps to deliver the instruction, to deliver the message and so on. So I realized that we are able to practice simple Japanese using Telegram apps. For example, just greetings that they have learned, simple instructions, simple words in Japanese. And what I used to do also during that time was I encourage them to ask questions. If you are feel shy to ask questions during the lesson, you can just PM me. If you feel shy to ask the questions in the group, just PM me. As long as when the student asks questions, we know that they are study. So that's what I used to do with them. And as for the threats, some of the student might hard to get what we say in the class in Japanese, especially when the words are the first time they heard the words. So there are students who might have difficulty to understand verbal instructions or oral instructions. So we need to write down, jot down. Especially, it's also an opportunity using Telegram, because we can jot down that Japanese words in Telegram. So if they found that didn't understand that word, they can find the meaning on their own. So I tend to use a lot of pictures, a lot of gestures during the class whenever I speak in Japanese, and body language, so that they can guess the meaning through the gestures. Right. For the next one is Oyo Renshu application and advanced practice. As for the strength, because we were using online tools a lot, so we can use a lot of we can use various activities using that online tools, actually digital tools. For example, these are one of the examples of the tools that we use. This is just Google Slide, actually. But what I've done with the Google Slide with the students was, I just give them this format, diary format, for them to jot down their own diary in these slides. And one student get one slide, and so they come up with a diary, and other members, other classmates can comment on their friends' diary as well. So this is some of the collaborated activities that I've done with the students before. And same goes to Form 4 students before. I just give a simple instructions at the first slide. At the first main slide, for example, 4B and 4U テキストの68ページの、これは新しい言葉の導入です。自分でその言葉の意味を探してくださいっていう指示がありました。And the rest of the slides were an empty slide, so they need to come up with their own works, where it is a grouping activity, so they need to collaborate it. They need to discuss how they're going to do that works, that task. So these are the examples that they come up with. And for the weakness, this other weakness, it's quite important weakness that I have realized in myself that I need to improve from now, where I have a problem a little bit with how I'm going to connect the lesson, lesson objective, activity, and evaluation. It's about connecting the dots, where we have a lot of material use, online materials especially, but how I'm going to set the learning goals, what are the students going to learn at that class, and what are kind of activities that I'm going to do with the students to achieve that objective, and what are the measurements, what are the evaluation that we are going to do to evaluate the students. So these are the three important elements that I've realized that I need to improve in myself. And for the opportunity, because we were using online a lot, digital tools, so I think this is a great opportunity for the students to improve their IT skills, where we can utilize their strengths, actually. And these are the examples, the tools that I've used with the students. I used to use Linoid to ask their feedbacks every time at the end of the class. And this is Jamboard. Oh, actually, this is the time where we learn about homestay. So I asked them to give the difference between Malaysians homestay and Malaysia's homestay and Nihon's homestay. What is the difference that they know? So for the threats, definitely, because we were doing online, a lot of online things, so there might be internet problems. So here we need to come out with offline backup plan. For example, what I used to do with the students before, for example, if you want them to watch videos, instead of just giving the link of the video, why don't we download it or give something offline? Yes, definitely they're going to use the data as well, but then not as much as offline throughout the class. And this is my problem, where if use online, if in online jugyo, online class, um, I tend to take too much time, especially whenever we are doing quizzes. We are doing quiz together. For example, quizzes or Kahoot, where the questions might be a lot. So this is are the things that I need to chewy to alert after this, where you just focus on. You don't have to go through all the questions. Just go through to the question that most of the student make mistakes. So this is one of the taisaku, the measurement that I can take after this. And the last one, Gendai Tekina Jugyo, New Pedagogical Deep Learning. As for the strength, actually we were doing a lot of digital tools. We introduced digital tools a lot to the students. We try to make the content of the lesson not just only Nihongo itself, but try to make them can relate to their own lives outside of the class, of outside of the schools, so that they can learn things involved in their own life, not just in class. And as a witness, I think that actually, even though I've done a lot, but it's still not enough yet. Mada desu ne. Not enough implementation in terms of my guide, maybe. For example, if they're watching video, so I need to extract out what they have realized from that video, what they have learned from that video. 気づき、価値観とか、それが一番大事ですね。And then also 達成度の自己チェックリスト。And for this one, we need to measure, we need to know how far the student have achieved. So this is another thing that I need to improve in my lesson, where I need to come up with just might be just a simple checklist for the students, so that they're on track. They know what should they achieve. They know what should they learn at the end of the class. And as for opportunity, since we are doing blended learning, where I used to give pre-tasks to students before the class, this is good because we can set them to be ready before the class, where and also students actually can study at their own pace first before entering the class. And as for the threads, well, we're doing a lot of things like digital tools, collaborating, improving communications in between the students, among the students. There might be possibility weak students who tend to feel more like demotivating themselves to not involve in the class because they feel that they are useless or they're nothing compared to other students. So this is our responsibility comes, where we need to keep on motivating the students, listen, try to build trust with them, because it's not, when we are talking about NPDL, it's just not about I am the teacher and you are the student, you're going to listen to everything that I've saying. No, we are partnership with the students. We teachers and students are partnership. So we need to build trust in them, so that we can striving in Japanese together, and also try to find their interest, so that we can utilize their interest in Nihongo Jugyo as well. And as the for conclusion, actually these are the conclusions that I can conclude. Where are the points, the main points that I need to improve in myself for in the future, for the class in the future. Number one, back to our 言葉教室、教室の管理、言葉教室をしっかり、これからしっかり、使うように頑張ります。これからもその挨拶とか挨拶ぐらい表現、簡単な指示だけでも積極的に使わなければなりません。はい、次は授業の目標活動と評価が、つながるように頑張って計画するように、頑張ります。So that the students themselves can see clearly what are the learning goals that they should achieve, and what are they going to do to achieve that. And the last one is 生徒の気づきを高める。While, for example, watching videos, not just only watching videos, anything surround them while they're maybe helping their friends in jugyo, in class, in lesson. So what are the kachikan that the students, what are the values that students uh, can aware, can alert. So this is important to set their mindful awareness mindset, so that they can just not, they can have a mindset that just not only in the class, that they can go beyond that. And also it is better, it is better if I can provide a self checklist for the students to measure their achievement during the class or every lesson. So I think that's all from me.ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Shafika Sensei. Okay, I'm sure viewers, you have heard Japanese. We talk Japanese because we are all Japanese language educators here, or Japanese language practitioners. But and also I would love to actually applaud Shafika Sensei for being such reflective, for practicing such a reflection during her practicum practice as a Japanese language teacher. And as you can see from her sharing, how beneficial it has been. The insights that she has shared with us, I'm sure all the Japanese language practitioners, and not only Japanese language, I'm sure all teachers know and can relate to what she was trying to tell us here. The points that she had highlighted, which is actually the most important in the current education. And without further ado, let's us welcome our next speaker, Nafisa binti Hamidun Sensei, to share the benefits of.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Thank you to Ang Sensei for this opportunity. So for my presentation, the purpose of my presentation is to share the benefits of reflective practice by teachers to improve student learning. And this is actually based on my mid-practicum reflection actually, where I have I experienced to do practicum at a national secondary school where I teach Japanese language subject to the students. So this is the content that I will be sharing. For the reflection point, there will be mainly three points, which are student engagement, evaluation method, and also student-centered teaching method. So this is just a brief introduction about my practicum background. I did my practicum at a national secondary school in Selangor, which is Mak Kajang. And then I was in charge of students from Form 1 until Form 4. And the practicum mode was face-to-face for a short while, and then we have to do online due to the increase of COVID-19 cases. So most of the practicum was done actually in online mode. Okay, going to the first reflection point, which is regarding the student engagement. For this, I think my strength is that I gave students stars or points using the class dojo for those students who are active in the class, to make sure that they engage well in the class activities. And also I use various kinds of platform for online quizzes like Kahoot quizzes, word wall, and etc. But then as for my weaknesses, I in the class there will be some students who are just passive. They just keep silent throughout the class. So my weakness was that I did not give my attention to those group of students. Instead, I just give full attention to the students who are very active in class, who respond very well to my questions. And as for this weakness, I came up with um, the improvement as for the countermeasure. So what I did was I only give 1 to 2 chances to those active students to answer questions or to be active to answer questions. And then for the passive students, I will call out their names so that they will know that I pay attention to their existence in the class. And then as for the online quiz, I start to use the Blue Cat apps, I think, which is a much more fun and interactive online quizzes that use a lot of game modes. And as the results, I actually can see an increase in student engagement where I start to hear the voices from students other than the active students, which mean previously the passive students, they start uh, to speak out loud, like they said, this is fun, Sensei, and I want to do it more, Toka. Okay, but still during the practice to do sample sentences, there were still some students who just keep quiet even though I call out their names. So this is like a new challenge for me. Here is the blue card that I mentioned just now, where teachers can choose many different kinds of games based on only one set of question to give to student so that they will have fun while learning. And actually my student really love using these apps. And then teachers can also check the student performance, where we can see during the first quizzes how many percentage they achieve, and then the second quizzes how many percentage they have increased in their performance. And then moving on to reflection point number 2 regarding evaluation method. For this one, I think my strength during the face-to-face mode, I use verbal like questioning and also observation on the students during class. And then during the online mode, I evaluate students using many kinds of online quizzes like Kahoot and Quizzes apps. But then for my weakness, during the face-to-face mode, I did not really evaluate student on individual. I did not evaluate the students' individual performance. And one of the reason was because there was just not enough time. And then during the online mode, I also did not really evaluate students by individuals on their tasks to make sample sentences. I mean, I use Kahoot and quizzes just to give them objective questions, like just choose which one of the answers is the right one. So for the improvement, I created one worksheet for everyone, which every student can every student use the same worksheet to complete their tasks. They have to key in their answers in the same worksheet, and they have to make the sample sentences based on the theme or situations that I gave them. And as for the results, since the students were using one worksheet for one task, so I and even the students can know directly which student already done the task or which student have not yet done the task. And also because they are using the only the same worksheet, so student can see the other students answer, which means on the good side is they can learn from each other. This is, I think, good, especially for the weak students who really don't really know how to make sentences, so they can actually learn from the other students who already finished their work and try to make their own sentences. Um, which means this is like learning from each other, peer learning practice. And this is the example of how I did the one worksheet for everyone. So I give the theme of my night routine and my morning routine, and the student have to create sample sentences, a few sentences based on this theme inside the same worksheet. And when students make any mistakes and I put any comments on this worksheet, actually not only the students who were corrected can read my comment, but other students also can read, which means they can also learn from their friend's mistake as well, which is I think is a very good practice for the students. And then moving on to reflection point number 3, which is regarding the student-centered teaching method. And for this, I think my strength is that I do a lot of teamwork activities using the breakout rooms and the Jamboard, which is one of the PAK 21 or 21st century learning, which include the SITC. For this context, the collaboration and the communicative elements. And then I make the students to present their discussion results to the class. But as for my weakness, um, I was not really able to manage the group activities well. And it will always take longer times. It will be time over each time I do the discussion activities. And then I tend to do summary. I tend to summarize what the students have learned on that day by myself. And then when I introduce new sentence structure, I tend to do the explanation all by myself to the students, which is not really a student-centered learning, right? And as for the improvement, I have to find out what are the difficulties faced by the students and also by me during the breakout room sessions, the discussion sessions. And also, I encourage students to express their own viewpoints, their opinions, their thoughts. And also, I ask them to do their own summary of what they have learned on that particular class. And as for the new sentence structure, I will let the student to read first about the grammar or sentence structure, and then student have to explain what they have learned. So instead of me explaining, the student themselves have to explain what they understand. And as for the results, the activities, the discussion activities using the breakout room actually have some improvement. But still, I learned that for discussion sessions, students really need to have enough time. 5 minutes is like it's really not enough for students. So I have to plan well. If I want to do a discussion session, I have to plan well the time for the students to have enough time to do discussion. And then student also able to express their own opinions, their viewpoints on certain topics. And besides that, student also able to give feedback to each other among their friends. They able to give comments on each other. And this is the examples which I show the students a video on how the Japanese people do their cleaning activities in Japan in their school. And then based on the videos, the students have to write their thoughts on Jamboard, what they think about the videos, what they have learned from the videos, and etc. So this is how they express their viewpoints on the Jamboard. So by doing this way, they not only learn how to express their viewpoints, but at the same time, they also can read their friends' comments and they can learn something from their friends also. And for this one, this is some of the new knowledge that I gained during my practicum. So the first one is how to effectively manage group activities. So I learned that I must to appoint a leader in each group. And then I have to set up rules in order for me to be able to control the manners or attitudes of the students better. And then how to assess each student in a short time, I learned that I can use Plickers, which is one apps that a teacher can give questions to the students, and students can choose the answers A, B, C, D, which have different image on a paper. And for example, if the student want to answer A, they just pick up and show the A image paper, and then the teacher will just have to scan the whole classroom using the teacher's smartphone. And then another way is that I can just distribute paper to the students and give them 5 to 10 questions. And then after they finish answering the question, the person sitting next to them will have to check his or her answer. So this will take a short time only for individual assessment. And then lastly, for the interesting ways to divide groups, I one of the ways is that I can use picture matching card for 2 person in one group, or colorful popsicle stick if I want more person in a group, where the person who pick up the same color will have to be in the same group. And as for my impression and summary, I feel that it is good that I was able to put into the some of the theories and knowledge that I have learned in at IPG, to put into practice during my practicum. And there were lots of things that I learned during practicum, but one thing for sure is that I learned that actually the teacher profession is actually a hard one. Every day there will be new problems, there will be new challenges that you have to face in the classroom. So that is why I think to be a good teacher, to be an effective teacher, it is very important to continuously reflect on and to improve on how we do things. Mm. Hi, uh, that's all from me. Thank you.
Pointed out to us throughout their sharing are just wow. Now, being reflective, it gave us the know-how, the problems, the insights, not only to our problems, but also to our strength, so that we can use the strength. So both of them has shared SWOT method as the way how they reflect in an objective way manner. So with that, I'd like to thank them both again as our speakers for sharing their best their outcome or the benefits that they have gained as reflective practitioner in throughout their practicum, and also to all of you here, viewers, who have stayed with us till the end of this session. And we would like to take this opportunity to thank the Educational Technology Division, MOE, for the platform and our lovely repertoires. And dear viewers, we'd like to remind you that our next series will be held on the 20th September on the Tuesday, and it will be live at the same time at 10 a.m. Malaysian time. Till then, o genki de, sayonara. Goodbye from Malaysia. はい、お二人もお元気で、また会いましょうね。はい、
また会いましょう。お疲れ様でした。
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Thank you.